A bite of China 3. Huang Yuxing and his family have been walking in the mountains for 2 hours. They are going to look for a special kind of stone. This stone can be used to make slate pancakes, which are very popular among the local New people. Huang Yuxing is 60 years old this year. For as long as he can remember, his forefathers have been making a living from this. The roads were perilous in the past. When people needed to cook, they could only use local materials. Bingshangluo Town, Yunnan. This is Bingshangluo Town, Yunnan. Still waters run deep. The first bay of the Nujiang River meanders through here. The slate is blue-black shale, unique to the local area. Usually, they choose stones off the shady and leeward cliff. After being pried off with a pry bar, the stone pieces of the right size are cut and trimmed with a knife. After being taken down the mountain, they are polished and baked by the fireplace for a month or 2. They are good to use after drying. Throughout the Nujiang Gorge, there are only a few people who master this skill now. Place the slate on the fire. After being heated, the soft stone becomes solid and dense. Fire cannot break it, water cannot crack it. Sprinkle a thin layer of furnace ash on. This is the ancient method of non-stick down from ancestors. A paste made from wild buckwheat flour is poured on the slate. Heated by fire, the slate gradually becomes hot. The pores on the edge of buckwheat pancake overflow with aroma. The pancake is done. Then dip it in honey. This is wild honey harvested from the Nujiang Gorge. The canyon that embraces everything in nature makes the honey fresh and sweet. The aroma of charred buckwheat is mixed with the sweetness of wild honey. On the tip of the tongue is the taste of Nujiang River's summer. Originated in the Neolithic age, this stone cooking method, in which stoneware is heated with fire to cook food, is one of the oldest ways in cooking that we can still see today. Yunnan stone pot. Today, among the local chefs in Yunnan, the shapes of stone utensils have changed, but they are still used to create delicious food. Put the stone pot on the fire and heat it for 30 minutes. Pour in the soup stock that has been stewed for more than 8 hours. Then add fresh tricholoma matsutake. The evenly heated stone pot becomes a warm paradise of tricholoma matsutake as the fragrance overflows. The vitality of the precious ingredient is perfectly released. Stewed tricholoma matsutake in stone pot. Among many ethnic groups in the South, the fire pit is still widely used. The simple earthen stove is placed in the center of the house, becoming the holiest place in the home. With fire and smoke up, the Chinese people's expectation of delicious food is also up. The slack season for farmers in September and October is every year's busiest time. In Shanzhou, Sanmenxia, Hunan, Xue Huiming is a famous local chef. There are endless wedding and funeral banquets, which make it difficult for him to cope. Xue Huiming's method is to build stoves. Sanmenxia, is located in the Yellow River Canyon. In order to prevent wind and earthquake, their ancestors dug the ground for accommodation. Hundreds of sturdy and durable sunken courtyards remain today. This peculiar building is called pit courtyard. In the pit courtyard, a special stove called Chuanshan stove is being built. This is Shui Huiming's famous stunt in town. This stove is amazing. Even if there are dozens of tables of dishes in the banquet, it can handle dozens of tables of dishes. Since the air flows upward in the pit courtyard, the 7-hole stove is ramp-shaped. 7 holes are opened upwards in turn, sharing the same body. It has a slope. The fire goes upward. As air flows up, the fire in the stove becomes stronger, and the heat gets up. The pots behind all depend on this pot. This pot is the most critical one. It's been a whole day. Now stick the picture of the kitchen god. The stove is finally completed. I've got a pain in the back. It means that the Chuanshan stove is completed. The kitchen god is a god in charge of warding off evil spirits worshipped around the stove. The respect for the kitchen god contains every chef's hope for peace and happiness. Shanzhou is in the rainy season in October. It really begins to rain lightly at night. The newly built stove has been warmed and dried. But can it stand the rain? Shui Huiming is still a little worried. Put up the shed. Just use a plastic sheet to cover it. Put up the shed first. The plastic sheet must be long. Pull on both sides. Pull it to both ends of the yard. The next day. One night has passed. The big stove is safe. At dawn, Mr. Shui hurries to begin the preparation. His partners Li Jianchao are also rushing to the market to select ingredients for the wedding banquet. Today, Mr. Shui is preparing braised sliced Chuanshan spicy tofu, fried pork, stewed vegetables, stewed mushrooms, and stewed kelpin broth. Different cooking methods have different heat requirements. The dishes should be placed separately on different burners. Braised sliced meat and glutinous rice need to be steamed with high heat. Place them on the first and second burners. The third burner has the strongest fire, which can ensure the crispiness and tenderness of fried pork. Then the furnace temperature gradually decreases, used for stewing, simmering, and heat preservation in turn. With 7 burners, 7 hot dishes are made together at the same time. 3 cold dishes. That is the famous 10-dish banquet in Shanzhou. Let's give the bride and groom a big round of applause. Come, thank the chef. Toast the chef. With the Chuanshan stove facing even the wedding banquet of over 100 people, Shui Huiming still seems composed. His skills have brought happiness to villagers, and also won people's respect. The Chuanshan stove makes the best use of heat energy. With a small amount of fuel, a large amount of food can be cooked. It shows the wisdom of people in the pit courtyards. With stoves, people managed to control fire. Thousands of years ago, the Chinese also discovered the conversion of water and were the first in the world to use steam to cook food. Bamboo steamer. Steamer is the one of most commonly used utensils in China. This circular steamer, with a curved wooden border and the bamboo base, separates food from water. The steam above boiling water temperature conducts heat, maintaining the shape of the food. In the process of steaming, the delicate flavor is retained in the food, and nutritional components aren't damaged. No matter the dishes or the pastries, the steaming technique brings the original
onto
taste
Chinese
and flavor.
people's dining tables.
Yanjiang, Guangdong. One day more than 800 years ago, a Song dynasty cargo ship sailed here and overturned. Found in the waters near Yanjiang, Guangdong, this Nanhai No. 1 sunken ship brought the flourishing food culture and the development of iron woks and Song dynasty delight. We started excavating in 2014, and in 3 years, a total of more than 100 tons of ironware has been cleaned
iron
up.
woks.
Chui Yong. The first thing he touched was the iron wok on the top of the cargo hold. The history of iron woks began in Qing and Han dynasties. Good thermal conductivity of iron cookers promoted the development of the unique stir-frying technique of Chinese people. In high heat, the traits of food will change, and all kinds of seasonings can be absorbed. Myriads of ingredients become delicious food in a short time. The subtlety of Chinese cuisine is peerless because of stir-frying. Zhangqiu, Shandong. Wang Lifang, 83 years old this year, has been making iron woks all his life. To perfection. In Zhangqiu, most blacksmith partners are husband and wife. Two people have to work together. You see how we hammer. I hammer, and then she hammers. Strength is required. Skill is also required. The forging of Zhangqiu handmade iron has 12 process steps, 7 hot forging steps and 5 cold forging steps. This craft has a long history. Early in the Han dynasty, this was an important iron town. To this day, the traditional iron wok forging skills are still preserved here. To stir-fry, the wok often needs to be moved by hand. The 2 mm thick iron plate is forged into a wok with a handle. Heat can be conducted evenly. It's also strong and durable. The chef will feel comfortable holding it. Cooking demonstration. Lu Chang. In the process of making iron woks, the 2 most important steps are shaping and cold forging. By shaping, the shape of an iron wok must be made. Fried yellow croaker is a famous and difficult dish in Shandong cuisine. During the process, all the fish should be turned over 180 degrees at one time. It must be neat, without spilling the juice. It shows the superb skill of Shandong cuisine. It's also thanks to the iron wok, which is deep inside and suitable for flipping ingredients. After being hammered, the inner wall forms of the wok. Arc. When being flipped, the ingredients will naturally turn inside of the wok and won't get out. The fried yellow croaker is crisp on the outside and tender on the inside. It just melts in the mouth. The other important step is cold forging. Hammer it and make the inner surface look like a mirror bit by bit. It's not qualified until you can see a reflection of your face. 36,000 times of hammering. Not one less. You can't make it without hard work. If you fool it, it will fool you. It won't look good. "12 process steps and 18 times of heating. More than a dozen hammer tools, large and small. 1000 degrees Celsius high temperature smelting. Every hammering is a toughening experience for the iron. While infusing strength, it also gives life to the iron wok. Prepare to use a new wok. The handmade iron wok gives full play to itself. With this scrambled egg, there isn't a drop of oil, but it's not sticky at all. This characteristic promotes the unique cooking method of Shandong cuisine. For the classic dish braised large intestine, in the process of boiling sugar, it needs to be heated constantly. The thickness of the iron wok is appropriate. It's smooth and compact. In the long time boiling, the syrup never dries or sticks to the wok. The shape is complete. It's chewy with all kinds of flavors. Utensils with a soul are creating a living diet. Zhanqiu iron wok, after 36,000 times of hammering, obtains a soul, becoming a stage for creating legends and glory of Shandong cuisine. Around 2000, the hand-forging wok business was affected by many factors. In just 2 years, almost all blacksmith shops closed down. As the sound of hammering stopped, what's declining was also the life of blacksmiths. With machine, it only costs a dozen yuan for 30 yuan. This job is tiring and not profitable. At that time, we didn't have a vehicle. We rented a flat cart. My father and I pulled it for more than 10 kilometers to buy iron, with cotton-padded clothes in the morning. We came back in a single shirt. Looking back, I feel so bad. On the way, my father talked to me. It was already noon and we hadn't eaten yet. We hadn't eaten breakfast yet. I didn't bear to buy something to eat. I didn't even buy breakfast. In recent years, people are beginning to realize the charm of traditional iron woks again, with the help of young people who love traditional handicrafts. Wang Lifang and the old masters who had given up picked up their trade again. At the new site of Dongpingling, this former iron smelting technology center in Han Dynasty, people lit the furnace fire again. How pure it is. Just an anvil and a hammer. Nothing else concerns you. It feels good to work like that. No regret. I'm 51 this year. I'll try to work till 60. Probably only Chinese chefs can conquer the world with only one kitchen knife. In the world of food, the knife improves and witnesses the chef's skills. Chinese kitchen knife is multi-purpose: chopping, cutting, slicing, and peeling. It can be said that Chinese kitchen knife is specially created for Chinese food. Qingdi, Sichuan. In the 1,000-year-old town Qingdi, Ho Shiping has immersed himself in making kitchen knives for Qingdi 40 blacksmith years. Ho Shiping. In his eyes, the secret of making a kitchen knife is adding steel, quenching, and grinding. Hammer steel into iron, and the knife will have an invincible cutting edge. Deep well salt water is cold and stable. Use it for quenching, and the knife will become tough outside and pliable inside. In order to find a matching grindstone, he went up to Jiangyu and down to Sichuan. After searching everywhere, he found the real treasure was just hidden in the mountain behind him. People say that each place has its own unique knife. Maybe it's the stone at home matters. "1,500 kilometers away, on the outskirts of Yunnan, has been making knives 4 generations. His skills are kept secret. His knife makes a sound like dragon roaring and cuts ginger like butter. Metal and wood are born to be partners. In Chinese people's kitchens, the chopping board always keeps a low profile. It was discovered long ago that ginkgo trees were rich in oil. Combined with the unique repair function, it can resist bacteria and heal cutting marks. It doesn't hurt the blade and isn't slippery while cutting. The unique ginkgo chopping board is the beloved treasure of local people. In the kitchen, a ginkgo chopping board gets a new circle of life. For Huaiyang chefs with extraordinary cutting skills, it is more necessary. Huaiyang cuisine pays attention to the form of dishes. Melon carving made with superb cutting skills is a specialty in Yangzhou. Yangzhou melon carving. Yangzhou chef, Shui Quanqing, with just a kitchen knife, Huaiyang chefs can achieve forward splitting, cutting, and backward chopping. The most skillful thing is the cutting in pearl fish flour in Huaiyang cuisine. The distance between each cut is 5 millimeters. The knife cuts through the fish flesh, but the skin isn't broken. Chopping, slicing, cutting, and all others can be achieved with only one knife. Sweet and sour sauce runs pearl fish along the lines formed by the cuts, soaking the fish like water running in the deep valley. After being cooked, the fish is crisp outside, tender inside, sweet and sour. There are more than 100 kinds of known ways of cutting in Chinese cooking. Take the ordinary fried kidney, for example. The kidney can be cut in more than 10 ways. It can be in the shape of wheat, straw rain cake, lychee, show character, phoenix tail flower, and so on. The complicated cutting aims at improving the flavors of the food. For perfect Chinese stir-fries, cutting ingredients is only the beginning. Heat control is the key to cooking skills. Shanxi famous chef Du Shifeng has been worrying about one thing these days. Can you do it? You can't. Who can do it? My disciple asked me this. Master, I've been studying with you for so long. You taught me a lot of Shanxi cuisine, but why didn't you teach me the skill of flames in all directions? At this time, I just realized such a skill. In Shanxi, as early as the pre-Qing period, rich cooking skills have been developed. Shanxi cuisine has also become the oldest cuisine in China. Yet today, flames in all directions. This unique stunt of Shanxi cuisine chefs is on the verge of extinction. Fresh ingredients often need to be stir-fried with great heat in a short time, with flames flying all around. It is vividly called flames in all directions. As for this skill, heat control is the key. Its uniqueness lies in the use of fire. To handle it properly isn't an easy job. It hasn't been easy for Du Shifeng to master this skill. He still has a burn scar on his arm from the wok tossing back then. The person who made flames in all directions well known was Li Qingqi, a native of Lantian, Shanxi. As a great master of Shanxi cuisine, he once took charge of Empress Dowager Cixi's meals when she fled to Xi'an. It's said that at that time, Cixi must have golden-edged cabbage for every meal, which was cooked with the skill of flames in all directions. It's been passed down to Shanxi cuisine master Zhai Yaomin, and then to Du Shifeng. Du Shifeng grew up in Lantian, Shanxi. This is the famous hometown of chefs. People call Lantian chefs cooking masters. Nearly 60 years old, Du Shifeng increasingly inheriting the unique skills of Shanxi cuisine is his responsibility. In Du Shifeng's eyes, flames in all directions represents the highest level use of heat, the soul of Shanxi cuisine. However, great changes have taken place in the way of cooking today. Because of changes of stoves and heat sources, this skill that was created around the traditional stoves might disappear. Flames in all directions is a unique skill in Shanxi cuisine. If it disappears, how would I explain to my master? I must recover this skill and promote it. To learn this skill, tossing the wok is the foundation. Fill the iron wok with sand grains. Toss it with a single hand. After years of practice, the chef must toss the wok quickly without spilling a single sand grain. Greatness cannot be achieved without obsession. Inside and outside of home, Du Shifeng practiced hard day and night. One day in September 2017, Du Shifeng specially invited his master Zhai Yaomin, hoping to use his best demonstration Shanxi chef to make the stunt passed down and to revive Shanxi cuisine. Pat the cabbage gently with a knife. To make it spongy, cut it into pieces of 4 centimeters. Light the fire. When the inner surface temperature of the wok reaches 200 degrees, put the cabbage in. Add vinegar and let it burn. The fire turns with the cabbage, which goes with the wok. Move the wok forward and backward, left and right. The cabbage flies up in 4 directions: east, west, north, and south, which means that the whole world is contained in it. There are flames in all directions while stir-frying. The wok is moved with tremendous momentum. In just a few minutes, the vegetables are burned by flames and the edges become golden. The slightly burnt edges lock the juice. Crisp and refreshing golden-edged cabbage exudes the aroma of time. A classic dish is reborn. While processing different ingredients, Chinese people have chosen and created different utensils. With these various utensils, many cooking skills have been developed to create delicious food. Utensils give the food better taste. In addition to the necessary utensils for cooking, the diversity of Chinese cuisine also comes from the wisdom of folk practice. These wonderful ideas have enriched our food and given us a thorough experience of the taste of food, becoming the most amazing creation of Chinese cooking utensils. Look at you. You didn't even use the fire properly. What I want is crisp outside and refreshing inside. Chilies first and then Sichuan peppers. The color is a little light. Put it back and cook again. Lan Minglu got into the career young, learning from masters of Sichuan cuisine. Decades have passed. He's mastered the essence of Sichuan cuisine. Sichuan cuisine is rich in flavor. Lan Minglu has been committed to studying the changes and secrets in the flavors of Sichuan cuisine. For professional chefs, if you want to master different flavors, you have to understand the characteristics of each seasoning. What really fascinates him are pickles that can be seen everywhere in Sichuan. To make a perfect jar of pickles means a lot for the study of flavors in Sichuan cuisine. Jars are very important for making pickles. In various pickle containers, the old jars abandoned by others are all treasures. For Lan Minglu, I always choose the old jars. It's because its glaze is single-sided, the inside is unglazed. Old jars are mostly made of clay. The wall is thin and breathable. Even if being pickled for a long time, the vegetables will still remain fresh, tasting crisp and refreshing. The jars with a big belly and a small opening are the most suitable. After being used for a long time, every old jar gets its own spirit. Old people say we should worship the jar god. Set a piece of coarse paper on fire and throw it in the jar. Add some water along the opening of jar and close the lid. After the air in the jar is used up, the water along the mouth is sucked in. All the water is sucked in. It's hermetically sealed. It's a good jar. Very good. It's already autumn. All kinds of vegetables are fresh on the market. Lan Minglu is very strict with the selection of ingredients. Do you only have this ginger? Do you have anything smaller and tenderer? This ginger is tender enough. This ginger is soaked. If it's pickled, it won't be so tasty and crispy. First, prepare tender gingers, long beans, chilies, garlic sprouts, sunchokes, carrots, and other seasonal ingredients. Wash one by one and dry in the shade. You have to choose carefully. Don't use the chilies that are broken or a little rotten or with black spots. Hurry up. It's noon. Take well water and pour it into about 1/5 of the jar. Add large particles of pickle salt to make the brine. Place the ingredients layer by layer in the jar. Add the brine and ingredients alternately. The ingredients must be complete to ensure that their taste don't change. The materials in the brine are mainly gingers, chilies, and radishes. Place the spices in the middle. The main function of other auxiliary ingredients is to complement flavors and to balance the overall flavor. Don't put too many ingredients. It is advisable that the water just covers the ingredients. Add a proper amount of baijiu and seal the jar. We have no idea what kind of person invented such a simple, yet scientific pickle jar. Just pour a bowl of water along the opening of the jar and then cover a big bowl. The vegetables in the jar are completely in anaerobic fermentation. Ferment the food and eat it sour is an ancient way of eating. Sichuan pickles were first used as a royal sacrifice in Ba and Shu with a history of more than 3,000 years. It's continued to this day. In Sichuan, every household makes pickled vegetables, and each of them has a different taste. Some people like to make it saltier, and some people like to make it sourer. If you ask them how they control it, they don't even know themselves. Pickles from different households taste completely different. His pickles are always so salty. His are always so sour. His are always so crisp. His are always so Sichuan tasty. Chef and Lan Minglu always taste so terrible. Bean jelly with pepper is a Sichuan dish with strong local characteristics. The dish made by Lan Minglu tastes different from others, not only because of his traditional technique. It lies more in the addition of the brine from the pickle jar. The compound flavor of pickles stimulates the vitality of ingredients. It's like meeting food with this flavor. They are suddenly awakened. A bowl of bean jelly becomes a magical delicacy. I always think that jelly with pepper pickles have their spirits. They have their souls. In an anoxic environment, lactic acid bacteria decomposes into lactic sugar acid in vegetables. It can also decompose the protein in vegetables and produces amino acids with delicious flavor, so that the flavor of vegetables will be great changed. In 3 or 4 days, the fermented ingredients will emit gas. It can even open the lid. At the same time, the jar will make a purring sound. With the sound and the smell, Lan Minglu can know accurately the process of fermentation. Perfect fermented pickles will give off a charming fragrance, making people have a great appetite. The dish that can highlight the compound flavor of pickles, which bring magic to Sichuan cuisine, is stewed fish with pickles in the old jar. This dish is loaded with pickles. Fresh pickles can enhance aroma and flavor, removing fishy smell. The pickles make all the seasonings so gentle and so fragrant. Pickles, in a sense, are the life of Sichuan people. They're the lifeblood of generations. As the backbone of Sichuan cuisine, pickles have evolved from the appetizer to the seasoning fish with pickles and to the indispensable ingredient. Lan Minglu devoted almost all his energy to improving the flavors of Sichuan cuisine. He has little time for family. It has been a concern of his for years. That time, I was deeply touched. I cooked some dishes for my son at home. He cried. He said they were delicious. I've worked as a cook for so many years, and he finally tasted my cooking. That was touching. He felt very happy. Love is the best seasoning. Pickle jars promote the conversion of ingredients, bringing the people in Sichuan the taste of time. Good food goes with good utensils in the long history. To figure out how to make better use of each ingredient, from kitchen utensils to tableware, Chinese people have developed unique wisdom and aesthetics. Tableware designer. Zhang Hong is a tableware designer. For 30 years, he has been dealing with mud. It has pores and breathes. Mud made by machine has no pores. Just like humans, mud has a spirit. It also has its own spirit. Since 15 years old, Zhang Hong has been selling white porcelain bowls and plates on the streets of Beijing. After half a life's hard work, he suddenly let go of everything and got himself immersed in the clay to seek the satisfaction of making porcelain in person. Zhang Hong is 45 years old this year. He moved his family to Jingdezhen. Making beautiful utensils for delicious food has become his biggest dream for the rest of his life. Yu County, Hebei Province. With ravines and gullies, the north of Yu Country is barren. But there is a kind of clay called Ganzi soil. It is the best material for making black pottery utensils. For thousands of years, it has met the needs of the local people. You waiting here? You're finally here. Let's go. How's the kiln going? This is an ancient method of making potteries, which can be traced back to the Neolithic age. Beyond the Great Wall, the ancient pottery-making process has been passed down to this day. The belly of this bowl has to be bigger, a little rounder. By chance, Zhang Hong discovered this place. He took it as heaven sent and couldn't let it go. Please straighten this part. A little more straight. Make it more straight. It'll be more useful later. Utensils are not only for carrying food. They also carry our aesthetical and spiritual expressions. I like this style. The ceramics must have this style. With this style, you can see the power of it. It doesn't express warmth or softness. It's power. In Zhang Hong's view, the design of dining utensils is the synthesis of art. The glaze and texture of porcelain must be taken into consideration so that it complements the color of the food in it. The layout of the dining space also needs to be taken into account. This vessel, you see, has become a part of our space. It is not just a single individual. This is a kind of blending. All the things blended. Look at the boat and the light. It's simple and modern. Food becomes charming because of utensils. Utensils become graceful because of food. Perfect fusion of delicious food and beautiful utensil brings a complete dining experience. Braised pork has a feeling of solemnity and suitable sincerity. For crude pottery. Handmade pottery has clear texture, with the natural glazing color, setting off the luster of the meat. The utensil is integrated with the square vessel. 10 years ago, this small bowl designed by Zhang Hong became a classic. Lot of guests who come to eat this dish like this vessel very much. Some guests even asked if they could wash it themselves and then take it away. Made 150 years ago, this set of Tongji wedding porcelain has a total of 10,072 pieces. In the Palace Museum in Beijing, there are more than 2,800 pieces. The rest are scattered among the people. Chongqing collector Qin Binsong traveled overseas and made painstaking efforts so that we can take a good look at the history. Tongji wedding porcelain started the concept of a complete set of tableware in the history of Chinese daily tableware. In addition to practicality, it's also extremely ingenious. It conveys the ancients' care and respect for banquets and festivals. Expressing the soul with utensils has been Zhang Hong's wish for many years. Clay is low profile, yet glass is shiny. The combination tests between different materials promote Zhang Hong's creation. Glass is similar to ceramics. Glass is also produced in a high-temperature furnace. Ceramics have also experienced fire. The place where you put the glass is also very important. Delicious food gives people material enjoyment, while beautiful utensils convey more spiritual pleasure. Perfect fusion of delicious food and beautiful brings utensil. A complete dining experience. Colored glazed moonlight plate. Humans and utensils are molded by each other. In the toughening process, the utensils are given eternal spirit in the fire, so time can be measured. Green moonlight and tastes can be memorized. Hand-painted lotus plate. Those who make beautiful utensils ceramic for food designer Duan also include Duan Jinmin. Mr. Duan concentrates on making because of his childhood memories of home. Yuan next to ancient village was the imperial kiln. The house was a typical Hui-style architecture. Stewed fish with fried tofu is a homely dish. What was it for? To store clay. Therefore, we've been immersed in this atmosphere since we were children. In the ancient Huizhou area, black bricks, white walls, and black tiles composed a home with endless succession. Mr. Duan has been busy running about, looking at the horsehead wall. He becomes emotional. He hopes that his own works can convey something about his hometown. The wall gives us the feeling of a home. Where there is a wall, there is a home. Recently, Mr. Duan is planning one thing. He hopes to add something about his hometown Lake to his works. The taste of hometown has been buried in Mr. Duan's memory deeply. Dukang, Jiangxing is located on the bank of Poyang Lake. Fried tofu is a delicacy on local people's tables. The production process is not complicated. Soaking, pulping, shaping, and cutting. The most important thing is, during the frying process, water is used to control the temperature in the pot. The tofu stick slowly swells and becomes fluffy. It's crispy and chewy. A dish that comes from it is stewed fish with fried tofu. As the largest freshwater lake in China, Poyang Lake offers delicious and fresh ingredients. Cooking demonstration, Bian Zilong, and also people's favorite. Frankfurt, Germany. Wandering on the road of porcelain, with both hometown and the whole world in heart. Mr. Duan opened a ceramic exhibition hall in Germany. He's using porcelain as the medium to spread the Chinese lifestyle. This time, he brought special gifts to his friends. This is also the thing that he has pondered for a long time. There's no better way to understand China than to understand porcelain, the hometown of the porcelain maker, and the taste of his hometown. Recognize the whole through observation. Mr. Duan brought the fried tofu from his hometown to Germany, not just to have a taste of it. He wants his friends to enjoy the beauty of utensils and taste of food from China. Chinaware comes from China. The horsehead wall design on the porcelain represents his hometown. We call this dish chicken soup with fried tofu. Chinese people's lives are expressed in the combination of food and utensils. Cooking, serving, eating, drinking, storing. Chinese people's kitchens are full of utensils we are familiar with. They live with fire and smoke, grow with the years. In the long-term use, these utensils accompany the growth of each and every one of us. Food disappears while utensils remain. Whether we remember or not, they always stay there, silently and faithfully. There's our ideal home here, where our ideal life was once placed. Utensils are tangible yet boundless. The beauty of the utensils brings the food warmth of home. Preview
Time
of the
changes.
next episode,
So
A Bite
does
of
life.
China 3, Episode 2 Aroma. The taste of home, however, stays the same. A Bite of China 3. Please stay tuned. A Bite of China 3.